Welcome to the Talisman Wizard podcast, episode number 1. Today we're going to have some fun with a tournament of Talisman 4th edition characters. I have generated a random bracket of all of the characters except for a few that I couldn't fit into the bracket generator. You can only have up to 64 players in it, and so that leaves 5 left over that won't be included in the tournament. Those characters include Priest, Ghoul, Arcane Scion, Celestial, and Highlander. We'll just have them fight each other later on in a battle of the... I don't know what to call it, but anyway, a battle of the characters who didn't make the cut. Alright, so what I'm going to do... Excuse me. What I am going to do is, in my browser... online, I have found a website called whowouldwininaffight.info. It's mainly meant for popular like Marvel characters and stuff like that, or Star Wars, things like that. If you enter a name of some character like that that's popular, it'll make a fight that is, pretty realistic and whatever. But what I've discovered is, in order to do something more obscure like a talisman character, I can't just plug in Prophetess and then it just, Prophetess versus Ancient Oak is going to be our first fight, for example. I tried typing in those and it wouldn't load anything. And then I tried again and put Female Prophet Warrior or something like that versus Living Tree Warrior. And then it gave me some stuff, and it sounded very similar to what in the description that comes out for the simulation. It was pretty accurate as far as the descriptions go and how things were going. So that's what I'll have to do probably for most of these characters. I'll input something a little different than just their name, but it'll be as accurate as possible of a description of the character. And then we'll see what this simulator says as far as who wins. This will be a fun kind of imagine what would happen kind of thing. There's no inputs for any of their stats or strength or craft or anything, so it's not one of those usual tier list things where people break down what character is the best or if they're A, B, C kind of character. No, this will just be more of an imaginative, fun tournament, and ultimately we'll see, based on these parameters, who's the best character. It'll be single elimination tournament, 1 versus 1 battles, and let's see how it goes. So, without further ado, let me take a look at my bracket. Battle number 1 will be Ancient Oak of the Woodlands expansion versus the base game character, Prophetess. Now the one choice is, we have to choose a champion versus a challenger. Those are the 2 input boxes for this simulator. I'm going to say challenger is going to be Prophetess, and I will input Female Prophet Female Prophet versus Living Tree Warrior. And we'll hit fight. And here it is. So we got Prophetess versus Ancient Oak. Round 1. Fight. Here's the description for round 1. The Prophetess, a mystic figure with flowing robes, raises her staff and chants ancient incantations. As she does, a shimmering aura envelops her, granting her enhanced magical abilities. The Living Tree Warrior, or rather, the Ancient Oak, a towering creature made of gnarled bark and branches, flexes his muscular limbs and lets out a rumbling growl. Round 2. The Prophetess focuses her energy and sends a wave of powerful telekinetic force towards the Ancient Oak. The force slams into his wooden form, causing splinters to fly and cracks to appear. The Ancient Oak retaliates by summoning roots from the ground, which burst forth and attempt to ensnare the prophetess. Round 3. The prophetess gracefully dodges the grasping roots, her robes billowing in the wind. She smirks and raises her staff once again, channeling her magical energy into a devastating spell. A blinding beam of light shoots forth from the staff, striking the ancient oak with incredible force. With a furious roar, the ancient oak retaliates, swinging his massive branches at the prophetess. She dances lithely out of harm's way, her precognition guiding her every movement. Sensing an opportunity, she summons forth a swirling vortex of wind, aimed directly at the vulnerable core of the ancient oak. And final round. As the ancient oak staggers under the onslaught of wind, his bark cracking and splintering, the prophetess decides to end the battle. She raises her staff high, calling upon the power of the elements. Lightning crackles in the sky, and a bolt of pure energy strikes the weakened ancient oak, reducing him to a pile of smoldering ash. And it seems that the prophetess has come out on top. She will win round 1, and the ancient oak is sent to the graveyard. Alright then, let me go back to my bracket. And we will advance the prophetess to the next round. Prophetess is in the next round. Ancient oak eliminated. Alright, the next round will be elf versus tavern maid. Alright, let's go back to the simulator, see what we can do here. Where is the simulator? Pull it back up here. Alright, I'm gonna close a bunch of tabs and get ready for the next battle. Alright, so as I was saying, elf versus tavern maid. We have to choose a champion and a challenger. I would argue that the elf is the champion, the tavern maid is the challenger. So I'll put elf warrior, that might help this generator a bit. Versus, how about we put elf archer, because he's got a bow in his character card. Elf archer versus tavern maid. We'll see if that works. Alright, it's simulating the fight. While this is loading, we'll talk about these characters. I like the tavern maid. She's fun because she starts off with a bunch of potions. When she lands on people, she can make them get drunk or whatever. Or anyway, serve them a drink. They get to have some random effect happen to them or whatever. Elf is great because he jumps around between all the woods. He can teleport, and he's safe in the woods and forest. He doesn't have to roll there, and all that good stuff. Definitely fun to be the elf, fun to be the tavern maid. But let's see what the simulator says. Alright. What? Oh, I did the same thing as before. Darn it. Let's try again. Come on. Put in elf versus tavern maid. Fight. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Anyway, hopefully that loads. But boy, we got a fun tournament ahead of us here. We got all of the characters and some that were left out of the bracket. We'll figure out something for them. Okay, here we go. Okay, elf versus tavern maid. Round 1. Fight! The fight begins as the elf and the tavern maid face off. The elf, agile and nimble, gracefully dodges a wild swing from the tavern maid's tray, causing her to stumble. The elf retaliates with a swift kick, landing a solid hit on the maid's side, Both contenders start with 100 hit points. Round 2. The tavern maid, fueled by determination, recovers from her stumble and charges at the elf. She swings her tray again, this time with more precision. However, the elf, with his sharp reflexes, manages to block the attack using his forearm. He counterattacks with a series of swift punches, landing multiple hits on the maid's torso. Round 3. As the fight intensifies, the tavern maid, catching her breath, taunts the elf. "You think you're so tough, don't you? I've dealt with rowdier customers than you." The elf, maintaining his cool demeanor, smirks and replies, "You're no match for my elven skills, my dear." Round 4. The elf, utilizing his agility, leaps into the air, performing a stunning acrobatic maneuver. He lands behind the tavern maid, who is caught off guard by this display of skill. Seizing the opportunity, the elf delivers a powerful roundhouse kick to the maid's back, sending her sprawling across the floor. Round 5. With a determined look on her face, the tavern maid struggles to stand up. She wipes the blood from her lip and glares at the elf. "You may have fancy moves, but I'm not giving up that easily." The elf chuckles, impressed by her resilience. "You've got spirit, I'll give you that." Round 6. The fight reaches its climax as the tavern maid lets out a battle cry and charges at the elf once again. She swings her tray with all her might, aiming for the elf's head. However, the elf swiftly ducks and delivers a precise kick to the maid's abdomen, knocking the wind out of her. The impact sends her crashing into a table, causing it to shatter into pieces. Final round. As the dust settles, the tavern maid struggles to get up, her body bruised and battered. She looks up at the elf, who stands tall and unscathed. "You win. I give up," she admits, her voice filled with both exhaustion and respect. The elf extends a hand, helping her up. "You fought well. Perhaps we can share a drink instead." Winner, elf. Ha! I love this thing. This is pretty cool. Alright, well, elf advances. And he'll face the prophetess in the next round, but let's move on to the next battle, which will be Valkyrie versus Spy. And we will put in the Valkyrie as the champion, and the Spy as the challenger. And we shall generate the fight. Boy, I love this thing. This is really cool. I wish I had found this sooner, but I was just thinking to myself, how can I want to make like a character versus character talisman battle kind of thing. And I mean, I don't want to just do a tier list. That's been done a million times by people, and it's cool and all. It's fun to look at tier lists. Don't get me wrong. But I wanted to do something a little more on the imaginative side of what would really happen if these characters fought each other, and what would happen, you know, if they're in like a tournament kind of style. 1v1. And we'll whittle it down and see what the generator says. Okay, here we go. Valkyrie versus Spy, round 1. The battle begins. Valkyrie, wielding her enchanted sword, charges towards Spy with lightning speed. As Valkyrie swings her sword, Spy swiftly dodges the attack, narrowly evading the deadly strike. Both contenders start the fight unscathed. Round 2. Spy, known for his stealth and agility, takes advantage of Valkyrie's momentary pause after her missed attack. He quickly closes the distance, launching a flurry of punches and kicks towards Valkyrie. However, Valkyrie expertly blocks and parries each strike, displaying her impressive combat skills. The contenders remain unharmed. Round 3. Valkyrie, with a fierce determination in her eyes, taunts Spy. She shouts, "Is that the best you've got, Spy? You'll have to do better than that if you want to defeat me." Spy, in round 4. Spy, not one to back down from a challenge, smirks and replies, "You underestimate me, Valkyrie. Prepare to be amazed." With lightning speed, Spy pulls out a concealed blade, surprising Valkyrie. He lunges forward, aiming for Valkyrie's heart. Round 5. Valkyrie, using her quick reflexes and swordsmanship, manages to deflect Spy's blade just in time. The clash of metal echoes through the arena as sparks fly. Valkyrie's heart races, realizing the danger she narrowly escaped. Determined to retaliate, she counterattacks with a powerful swing of her sword. Round 6. Spy, wounded but refusing to show weakness, smirks through the pain. He mocks, "Nice try, Valkyrie, but you'll have to do better than that." Spy skillfully dodges Valkyrie's attack, reminding her that he is not an opponent to be underestimated. Round 7. Valkyrie, frustrated by Spy's taunts, unleashes a powerful battle cry. She charges at Spy with renewed vigor. Her strikes become faster and more precise. Spy struggles to keep up with Valkyrie's relentless assault as her sword lands several hits, causing him to stagger. Spy, bloodied and bruised, manages to regain his footing. He smirks once again, saying, "You're not the only one who can fight, Valkyrie." With a burst of energy, Spy launches a series of acrobatic maneuvers, catching Valkyrie off guard. His attacks land true, causing significant damage to Valkyrie. Round 9. Valkyrie, feeling the pain of Spy's assault, grits her teeth and retaliates with a powerful spinning kick. Her attack connects with Spy, sending him sprawling across the ground. Valkyrie's determination shines through as she stands tall, ready to finish the battle. Round 10. Spy, battered and bruised, struggles to stand up. He looks up at Valkyrie with a mix of admiration and defiance. Through gritted teeth, Spy says, "You're strong, Valkyrie, but I won't give up." With his last ounce of strength, Spy launches a desperate attack towards Valkyrie. Valkyrie, fueled by her determination to emerge victorious, blocks Spy's attack with ease. She swiftly counters, delivering a devastating blow to Spy's abdomen. Spy collapses to the ground, unable to continue the fight. The Valkyrie is victorious against the Spy, and thus advances to the next round. Alright, that was pretty epic. And now we've got... Ooh. Okay. Well, I thought I had not included this character, but I guess I did. He fit into the bracket. So anyway, we have Priest versus Ascendant Divine. Ooh. So I'm going to say Priest is the challenger. In Ascendant Divine, we're going to have to do a little creativity to make it work here. How about we put... what would be a good way to describe Ascendant Divine? Because I don't think this thing is going to figure this out. How about... female divine. Let's do that. See if that works. Alright. Ascendant Divine versus Priest. We'll see what happens here. And preview for the next few battles. We got Dark Cultist versus Elementalist, Druid versus Minstrel, and Mutant versus Warlock. And then after that, Leprechaun versus Tinkerer. Okay. Alright. Looks like that one didn't take. We'll try again. I'll keep going down the list and tell you what's going down. Mutant versus Warlock, Leprechaun versus Tinkerer, Conjurer versus Alchemist, Fire Wizard versus Doomsayer, Cat Burglar versus Dread Knight, Gin Blooded versus Swashbuckler, Dragon Hunter versus Black Knight, Dragon Rider versus Ogre Chieftain, Sprite versus Dervish, Necromancer versus Totem Warrior, Wizard versus Warlord. Okay, this keeps not working, so let's try to describe her differently. Female. Let's see. Or we'll just put goddess. Goddess versus priest. How about that? That's close enough. And here we go with where were we at? Necromancer, Totem Warrior, Wizard versus Warlord, Troll versus Bounty Hunter, Scout versus Philosopher, Dragon Priestess versus Gypsy, Warlord versus Laywalker, Minotaur versus Thief, Chivalric Knight versus Possessed, Nomad versus Merchant. Alright, something's not working quite right here for this thing. I'm going to refresh it. We'll go with Goddess, Priest, try again. If that doesn't work, we'll have to get a little more creative. Anyway, there's a few more battles that I haven't mentioned yet, but that's the bracket so far. Come on, simulate the fight, please. Anyway, what's your prediction? You think the Priest or the Ascendant Divine will win? I know in all reality, if you're looking at these character cards, you'd probably say Ascendant Divine. She's got massive amounts of spells she can cast. Alright, it's not taking to Goddess versus Priest. How about female, let's see, female spellcaster. We'll try that. You can do it. Come on, who would win in a fight? Let's see it. Make it happen. Please, please work. Yes, here we go. What? This is not what I wanted. Oh, it's close enough. They're basically using some actual character names from something, but we'll just go with it. We'll say, alright, yeah. Ascendant Divine conjures a vortex of fire, scorching Priest. Ascendant Divine, Priest's faith shields him from Ascendant Divine's spell. Ascendant Divine spell is repelled by the Priest's Divine shield. And in round 4, the Ascendant Divine teleports behind the Priest and launches a surprise attack. And then the Priest unleashes a devastating Holy Blast, overpowering the Ascendant Divine in round 5. Final round, the Ascendant Divine summons a storm of lightning, but the Priest's faith protects him. Winner, Priest. Alright, well that was kind of a simple battle that ended in a very big upset. The Ascendant Divine has fallen to the Priest. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. But the Priest advances. Let's see if we can get this thing to take Dark Cultist versus Elementalist. I'm gonna say Dark Cultist is the champion and the Elementalist is the challenger. Let's see if this is gonna work. Next up after this fight will be Druid versus Minstrel. Be sure to check out talismanisland.com. Great source of info on everything Talisman. Shout out to John there. The manager of the site. Alright, here we are. What? Is the same battle as before. Alright. What the heck? I'm gonna refresh a couple times. Try this again. Dark Cultist versus Elementalist. Elemental Warrior. Try that. We'll say Evil Cultist. Try that description, see if it works. While that's going, maybe I'll look for another Who Would Win simulator and see if there's anything else that would help. Who would win in a fight? You decide. Ooh, this might help. Who would win in a fight? That's not a generator. This game lets you simulate a battle. Gettysburg game, Marvel fight. Open source battle simulator. Pokemon battles? No. Okay, here we go. So it took the Evil Cultist and Elemental Warrior descriptions. So the battle begins as the Dark Cultist and the Elementalist face off. The Cultist raises her hand, summoning dark energy, while the Elementalist channels the power of the elements. Tension fills the air as they prepare for the clash. Round 2. The Dark Cultist takes the initiative, launching a barrage of shadowy projectiles towards the Elementalist. With lightning-fast reflexes, the Elementalist creates a shield of swirling winds, deflecting the dark energy. The crowd gasps in awe as the projectiles dissolve into nothingness. Round 3. As the battle rages on, the Dark Cultist taunts the Elementalist, mocking his reliance on the elements. The Elementalist, unfazed by the taunts, responds with a calm demeanor, saying, "The elements are my allies, and together we are unstoppable." The crowd erupts in cheers, inspired by the warrior's confidence. Round 4. The Dark Cultist, fueled by anger, conjures a dark vortex, attempting to drain the life force of the Elementalist. However, the Elementalist, attuned to the elements, harnesses the power of water and creates a barrier, shielding himself from the sinister vortex. The crowd gasps as the cultist's attack is nullified. Round 5. With a burst of determination, the Elementalist charges forward, his fists ablaze with fiery energy. The Dark Cultist tries to retaliate with dark magic, but the Elementalist swiftly dodges the attacks, delivering a powerful punch to the cultist's chest. The impact sends the cultist flying backward, crashing into a pillar. The crowd erupts in cheers as the Dark Cultist struggles to get back on her feet. Round 6. As the battle reaches its climax, the Dark Cultist, enraged by the Elementalist's attack, summons a swarm of shadowy minions to overwhelm her opponent. However, the Elementalist, connected to the earth, summons a massive wall of stone, blocking the path of the shadowy minions. The crowd watches in awe as the minions disintegrate upon contact with the impenetrable wall. Round 7. With a fierce battle cry, the Elementalist charges towards the weakened Dark Cultist, his fists crackling with electricity. He delivers a series of lightning-quick strikes, each blow landing with precision. The Dark Cultist tries to defend herself, but it's too late. The crowd watches in awe as the Elementalist's lightning-infused punches send shockwaves through the air, overwhelming the Dark Cultist. Final round. With her strength waning, the Dark Cultist unleashes a final, desperate attack, engulfing the arena in darkness. The Elementalist, undeterred, taps into the power of the elements one last time. He creates a blinding flash of light, dispelling the darkness and illuminating the arena once again. The crowd erupts in applause as the dark cultist falls to the ground, defeated. Winner, Elementalist. Alright. So, Elementalist comes out on top there and defeats the Dark Cultist. So let's move on to the Druid versus the Minstrel. We'll type in Druid and Minstrel, and we'll try that first. See what happens. You might have to get creative again and use a different description. Like, what would we do for the Druid? How would we describe the Druid? He's a wise old, well, I just call him a wise old forest wizard versus a traveling, well, minstrel's minstrel. We'll see what happens. A traveling musician. Please work. Nope, it did the same thing as before. I think I just need to refresh every time, a couple times. Alright. Old wise forest wizard versus minstrel warrior. We'll try that. Take a brief pause to respond to a text. All right. After Druid versus Minstrel. Okay, here we go. It took to Old Wise Forest Wizard versus Minstrel Warrior. The battle begins in a dense forest, where the Druid and the Minstrel face each other. The Druid raises his staff, conjuring a swirling vortex of leaves and branches. And the Minstrel, wielding a finely crafted lute, strums a powerful chord that sends shockwaves through the air. Round 2. The Druid, with a flick of his wrist, releases a barrage of sharp thorns towards the Minstrel. The Minstrel gracefully dodges the thorns, spinning and twirling with remarkable agility. He retaliates by playing a melodious tune on his lute, summoning ethereal spirits to surround the wizard. The Druid. As the battle intensifies, the Druid raises his staff high overhead, calling upon the ancient powers of the forest. With a booming voice, he commands the trees to uproot themselves and entangle the Minstrel. The Minstrel, undeterred, confidently strums a defiant chord, causing the ground beneath him to shake and crack open, freeing himself from the grasps of the trees. Round 4. The Druid, sensing the determination in the Minstrel's eyes, decides to unleash a powerful spell. He conjures a blinding beam of light, aiming it directly at the Minstrel. However, the Minstrel, with his quick reflexes, spins his lute and reflects the beam back at the Druid, momentarily blinding him. With his vision restored, the Druid knows he must act swiftly. He summons a furious storm, rain pouring down and thunder crackling in the sky. The Minstrel, undeterred by the chaos, plays a triumphant tune on his lute, a melody that calms the raging storm and dissipates the dark clouds, leaving the Druid astonished. The final showdown approaches. This is the final round. The Druid, feeling a surge of energy, channels his magic to create a massive tree entwined with magical vines, launching it towards the Minstrel. The Minstrel, with a flourish of his lute, strums a powerful chord that resonates with the heart of the forest, causing the tree to become one with nature and gently cradle the druid instead. Winner, Minstrel. That would not happen in the actual game, but at least they don't think. But that was cool. Another upset. And now we move on to Minstrel. No, I mean Mutant versus a Warlock. I will hit refresh a couple times. Mutant. Beast. Hub type versus Warlock. Wizard. Try that. About halfway done with that simulation, and then next up we're going to have Leprechaun versus Tinkerer. Definitely going to need to describe the Tinkerer in another way. We'll say, I don't know. Anyway, so I typed Mutant Beast versus Warlock Wizard. Round 1. The mutant charges forward, its muscles bulging with power. With a loud roar, it lunges at the Warlock. The Warlock, in round 2, swiftly dodges the mutant's attack, his cloak billowing in the wind. He retaliates with a powerful spell, launching a barrage of magical bolts towards the mutant. Round 3. The mutant, enraged by the wizard's attack, the Warlock's attack, lets out a ferocious roar. It charges again, ready to strike. Round 4. The Warlock quickly raises his staff, conjuring a magical shield to block the beast's attack. He counters with a burst of arcane energy, hitting the mutant with a powerful blast. The mutant growls in pain but refuses to back down. It charges once again, its massive claws tearing through the air. The Warlock, his eyes glowing with arcane power, here in round 6, casts a spell of entanglement. Vines burst from the ground, wrapping around the mutant's legs and immobilizing it. The mutant struggles to break free from the magical vines, but its efforts are in vain. It lets out a frustrated roar, attempting one final charge, here in round 7. Round 8. The Warlock, a smirk on his face, raises his staff once more. A beam of concentrated magic shoots forth, striking the beast with incredible force. The mutant with incredible force. Round 9. The mutant, weakened and on the brink of defeat, tries to rally for one last attack, but its movements are sluggish, and the wizard, the Warlock, easily sidesteps its attack. Final round. The Warlock raises his staff high, channeling a tremendous amount of magic into a single spell. With a thunderous explosion, a beam of pure energy shoots forth, obliterating the mutant. Winner, Warlock. And now, on to the Leprechaun versus the Tinkerer. Let's see. I think we'll be able to tell if it's a Leprechaun. Champion of this is going to be the Leprechaun. Versus, we'll call him a small. Is he kind of like a dwarf or something? Small. How would you describe Tinkerer? Small mechanic elf. Small, short elf mechanic. There we go. See if that works. Alright. After the Leprechaun versus Tinkerer, we'll have Conjurer and Alchemist. I like the Leprechaun character. I like the Tinkerer. They're both pretty overpowered. Alright, that didn't work. We'll do Elf Mechanic. Tiny green warrior. We'll do tiny green warrior versus elf mechanic. And see if that takes. After the Conjurer and Alchemist, we'll have Fire Wizard and Doomsayer. See, Doomsayer, he's the guy that's like the guy that's got like a flail. Crazy looking guy with a flail. Alright, this one still ain't working. How about small Irish person? Small Irish warrior. And small old warrior. Yeah, we'll try those descriptions and see what happens. Here we go. Alright, it has some funny names for them, but we'll just insert our character names here. Alright, so the Leprechaun charges at the Tinkerer. Leprechaun swings his trusty weapon with lightning speed, aiming for the Tinkerer's legs. The Tinkerer, with his years of experience, sidesteps. Oh, this is it. Alright. Tinkerer, using his years of experience, sidesteps the Leprechaun's attack and counters with a swift strike from his cane. The blow connects with Leprechaun's shoulder, causing him to wince in pain. Round 3. Leprechaun, determined to show his resilience, smirks at Tinkerer and shouts, "Is that the best you got, old man?" He lunges forward, attempting to grapple Tinkerer and bring him to the ground. With a sly grin, Tinkerer effortlessly evades Leprechaun's grapple attempt and retaliates with a swift kick to the Leprechaun's chest. The impact sends Leprechaun stumbling backward, gasping for air. Round 5. Leprechaun, his determination unwavering, leaps back up and charges at Tinkerer once again. This time he swings his weapon in a wide arc, aiming for Tinkerer's head. Tinkerer, with a hint of amusement in his eyes, here in round 6, ducks under Leprechaun's swing and delivers a powerful uppercut with his cane. Leprechaun's head snaps back and he stumbles backwards, dazed. Leprechaun, struggling to regain his composure, wipes the blood from his lip and growls at Tinkerer. "You may be old, but I won't go down without a fight." With renewed determination, he charges once more, aiming to sweep Tinkerer off his feet. Round 8. Anticipating Leprechaun's move, Angus steps aside and delivers a powerful strike to Leprechaun's back. Did I say Angus? Tinkerer. Yeah. Tinkerer steps aside and delivers a powerful strike to Leprechaun's back, causing him to crash into the ground. "You're a tough lad, but you've got a lot to learn," Tinkerer chuckles. Round 9. Leprechaun, bloodied and bruised, struggles to get back on his feet. With a fierce glare, he charges at Tinkerer one last time, determined to prove his worth. Final round. Tinkerer, recognizing Leprechaun's unyielding spirit, steps back and raises his cane in a salute. "You've got heart, lad, but it's time to end this." With one swift strike, Tinkerer delivers a powerful blow to Leprechaun's chest, sending him flying backward. Winner, Tinkerer! Defeats the Leprechaun. Alrighty. Well, let's see. How long has this podcast been? About 45 minutes now. I think I need to take a breather, but we will pick this up in the next episode of the Talisman Wizard podcast. We will continue the round 1 fights, and using this awesome website, which isn't perfect for this situation, but it's pretty darn cool. It's called Who Would Win in a Fight. Great website. We have to be a little creative with how we describe the characters. And then, of course, this is all just kind of a subjective, fun little thing. But thanks for your listening. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more from the Talisman Wizard.